Okay. Okay. Go live. Okay. I think we're live. I'm waiting to see if got YouTube up here. Let's hope. Okay. It looks... Oh, here we go. Yeah. And audio's working. Cool. Awesome. I think we're good. Okay. Yes. All right. Yeah, yesterday was kind of a fail. But seems like we got it going now. I had to download OBS, which that was the thing I was trying to not do. I wanted to try and keep it simple. I try and keep a lot of my stuff like as tight and as simple as possible. Sometimes it gets complex, but it makes it like simple after the fact. But yeah, OBS I was kind of trying to avoid. Here we are though. It's all good. We're streaming now, which is awesome. Okay, so today we are building my new pedalboard, my new Kemper Player pedalboard. I have got the Kemper Player right here. I've also got about 15 pedals thrown all over the floor. It's kind of nice in this shot. And, you know, tons of tools and stuff. We'll be talking about cool things like dual lock. We'll be talking about, you know, the thesis behind some of my past pedal boards and what this pedal board kind of represents. Why I chose to do a bigger pedal board that incorporates this. This I'm very specifically... Oh, Kyle, what's up, buddy? This is very specifically going to be, I think, kind of a game changer in the world of guitar. And personally something that I think I haven't been more excited about something in guitar in a while. Although the Quad Cortex was pretty exciting when that came. I still do really love that. Okay, so we have a secondary shot here. As you can see, I'll also put myself up. Let's go down. Yeah, let's go up here. Yeah, that way, you know, we can keep it a little separate. As you can see, I have gone ahead and put together the board. Okay, this is like I think they call this an earworm or an ear sound pedal board. Fix pedal board riser here. This whole pedal board situation can be had for about, you know, 150, 160 bucks. Hinged pedal board. There's about a 2-inch riser here, if you can see, which is really nice. This one's a little wobbly, which I'm hoping once we get some weight on here, it'll get figured out. But it's 24 by 14. My last one was 24 by 12, so it didn't actually accommodate for the player, which was kind of unfortunate. Here, I'll grab it right now. Here's my old board. So you can see it's a little smaller. I've still got all the dual lock. This stuff's expensive, so you might as well leave it on there. I'm giving this to a buddy of mine, but if you can see, there's a little bit of overhang. Also, this one has these side things. I decided to take off these side handles and order a bigger riser. It's about 1 inch bigger. But now I feel like there's a lot of real estate here to be doing, you know, things like, you know, having a integrated power supply specifically for the demo area of pedals that I'm going to have here. There's a little bit more room up here. I haven't exactly decided what I'm going to do with that yet. Just to show you an example. By the way, I apologize if I assumed you have all seen my last pedal board build. There's a video on my YouTube channel talking about my last pedal board build. But this is very similar to my last one, right? So I had this. This whole thing is meant to accommodate for the whole Strymon Fecta thing up here. Right? So you can see we're already kind of we're already cooking with gas here. This is a pretty sweet board already. And then last year these pedals started to get really big, the Una and the Wamp, right? So the Una and the Wamp are input and output buffers. And they sound good. I actually saw Blake Mills last year, who, if you guys know me, he's one of my favorite guitar players of all time. And his pedal board was just simple, and it had this, I think a Fairfield Circuitry Shallow Water, a Digitech delay pedal, which was kind of unique, and then one of those 10 years as a decades pedal. All really cool pedals, but very simple, and I was surprised that or I guess a third of his pedal board real estate was basically input-output buffers. And so these have been really cool. These basically send, you can use longer TS cables with these, and these give you enough gain to send a longer cable run, right? So when you're setting this thing up on a stage for a longer distance to to your amplifier behind you. I'm kind of waffling on about these. These just make your tone sound better, okay? So these actually, these go right under there. You can't see them. I haven't dual locked them down yet, but that's kind of the input-output junction right up there. So this was kind of the crux of the thesis of the last board, right? So I had all of these dual locked down, the volume. I didn't have the Kemper player at the time. I was kind of using the Universal Audio Dream when I did want to have a amp simulator. But now I actually just sold the Dream to my friend RC. It's a great pedal. I don't see the need for it now that I've got this. This is pretty serious. So that's going to be permanently installed, but it is going to still have this audition idea here where I'm just going to put Velcro here, not dual lock, because I want to be able to put pedals onto this area determinate to what I'm trying to do with the pedal board, right? That's kind of the fun of this board, is it's supposed to be gig centric and like amp and tone centric. It's supposed to sort of bring back the fun of a pedal board that's not switching, that's not basically doing effectively what an amp modeler could do, right? I got the Quad Cortex, and it basically eliminated any need to have any of this stuff, right? So, but that's all touchscreen, and we as guitar players and we as like musicians that like to spend money, we want this tactile effect. I like it, at least. And so being able to roll in with a board like this and leaning into that idea of having a more tactile experience is what I wanted with this. Looks like I got some questions. Oh, Jamie, what's up, Jamie? Hey, man, curious about the Leal volume pedal. Is it volume only, or does it do expression too? I do believe it can do expression if you have the proper cable, right? So I think if you do a TRS cable out of the output here, it'll send enough of a signal, because that's how expression pedals work, I believe, is they send like a very small voltage signal that basically tells whatever is receiving the expression to fluctuate up and down. So yes, this can do it. Leal also makes a really good expression pedal that I got for the Quad Cortex. Actually, my Quad Cortex board, which I don't have right now, I loaned it to my friend Andre. It's just the Quad Cortex and the Leal expression, and that's been a game changer with how small it's been for taking to gigs and stuff. So yeah, the Leal volume though, I mean, it's a volume pedal, but it's surprisingly amazing. Like the tolerance that it's set to just makes it feel really good. It feels very musical. For whatever reason, I feel like I can always detect like a swell with a ton of reverb that has got a Leal in front of it. It just sounds really nice. It's rock solid. It feels really good to use. So I'm a fan. Okay, so we have a lot to do today. I think we're gonna get into it here now pretty soon. Let's go ahead and talk about game plan. Okay, I'm gonna move some of this out of the way. I'm not probably going to get to the point where I'm doing a pedalboard demo today. That'll be another video that I'll make. That'll be a fun video to make, but it's not going to be today. Today we're going to get the majority of the wiring and Velcroing done, and I'll be talking about some of the order, some of the specific places where I'm thinking about things are going to go. But yeah, and then you'll also get an idea of just how I think about lining up my pedal board for a build. There's theory behind it, right? There's the whole gain stage, volume, and then modulation effects at the end. So we'll talk about that. But let's go ahead and get into it. The first thing I'm actually going to do is deal with my power, okay? So this is going to be the kind of the brain center of the power. This is also going to be where I put in the IEC cable. That's what it's going to power, or that's what is going to power the whole pedal board, is this Strymon Zuma. This is a switch mode power supply, right? So it's a lot lighter, which is cool. A lot lighter than a lot of the like the Voodoo Lab Pedal Power Plus, except the third version of that. The third iteration of the pedal power is now switch mode. The original ones were toroidal transformer. Those were a little heavier. Those actually also don't really provide that much power. These, every single isolated output is 500 milliamps, which should be able to power any of these, like the Big Sky or any. It actually won't power this though, and we'll get into that. This has been a bit of a challenge to power, but yeah, again, we'll get there in due time. This is my first live. I'm feeling excited, but I'm feeling a little nervous, talking a lot. Hopefully I'm not stumbling over my words too much. Okay, so if you saw, I just opened this up. Okay, so we're seeing underneath where the hinge is going to be. And I'm doing that for two reasons. Well, first of all, I need to put this underneath, but my general plan is to get this as far into the corner as possible, taking into account the fact that I've got this IEC cable right here. I'm also going to be employing this Canvas stereo line isolator, okay? Because this is going to be a pedal board that's based around the Kemper player. This is actually a really cool tool for giving you line level XLR out. So when I do want to send this to front of house modeling an amplifier coming out of the Kemper Profiler, it's going to be going through the canvas, right? And two XLR cables are going to be coming out of there. So that's going to go right here, and it's going to be a bit of a tight fit, okay? Oh, but I think it fits. Yeah, it fits. But it's a little bit of a tight fit. But that's going to be what's happening right here, okay? And I need to make sure that I'm able to hit this DI, LI right here, because that's going to change between whether or not I'm using the output, like the main output, to go to the WAMP is what this is called, because we're going mono out to the WAMP, okay, if I want to go into an amplifier. But if I hit this button, I'd be going stereo out into front of house with an XLR. All right. If I'm talking too fast, or I'm talking like total like another language and it's over your head, please feel free to ask questions. I kind of get in a little bit of a flow here. So yeah, but feel free to blow up the chat. I'm watching, I'm seeing you guys talking. So it'll be cool. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to lock this in, okay? We're going to put dual lock on these guys. Now, I have a couple of different dual locks here. We're still kind of in the intro of this video. I'm still kind of explaining some things. But hopefully you guys get a little bit of information out of this for building your own board in a nice way. I have three different kinds of dual lock here, okay? Dual lock is a 3M product. I think it's copyrighted. But they make a couple different gauges, right? This one with this white background tends to be my favorite. It's also the strongest. The adhesive is the strongest, so this is the one that like really holds well. This one with the red backing, this one's also strong, but the adhesive leaves kind of a residue, so I'm not the biggest fan of this. I will use this for some of the stuff that I'm planning on leaving like hardcore locked in though. And then this is kind of a less quality 3M dual lock, right? It's still kind of got the you might be able to hear that. It's still got the this thing going on, right? I don't know what to call that, but it's a little bit more low profile. So because our height is an issue with this canvas and the wall and the power supply down here, I'm actually going to be locking this stuff in with that form of dual lock here, this one. Because this will get us enough, it'll allow us to continue to have the clearance to not hit the top, right? which is important, right? We don't want to be jamming stuff, especially dealing with power. Okay, so gonna just go ahead and lock this in. Easiest thing to do, get some scissors. If you're here right now, maybe drop where you're coming from or where you're watching this from. It'd be cool to see where everybody is. All right. So, I also just like to pinch these together prior to putting it down, just because it helps me be a little bit more accurate. Also, good idea when you're building your board, have a trash can nearby. We're going to generate so much trash, it's crazy. All right. Helps to have these guitar player fingernails too to get this these stickers off. So there's the first one. I'm trying to inset it just a little bit so that you don't really see it. You know, that there's an element to that that's just going to be inevitable. Whoa, that scared me. That's just going to be inevitable to a certain degree to see some of this dual lock. Sorry if I missed it, but where is the pedal board and riser from? Pedal board is from, I think it's, what is it called? I could look it up. I bought it on Reverb just a couple weeks ago. But it was my last pedal board too. Let's see. Ear Fuzz Effects Flatboard. And I don't know why they're so cheap, but like I've seen some of these flatboards being, you know, hundreds of dollars, and this is my second Ear Fuzz pedal board, and it's always been like 30-40 bucks, which I feel like for this kind of pedal board, you know, that's the right amount to spend. Or it shouldn't be much more than that, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so I'm going to line it up right about there. Let me just double check that it's, yep, should be good. And then the riser is from Fix pedal boards. So that's just something that's available on Reverb as well. There's a nice guy that makes it in Lancaster. And I think he's just rocking these pedal board risers all day. I've bought 2 of them from him as well. They're really solid. Yeah. I don't have any experience with the Vertex ones, which seem to be the other kind of mass-produced pedal board risers. Let's see. This is the art here. All right, I'm gonna try to land it down. I mean, I'm not being super careful with where this is going, but I do want to make sure it's nice and pretty. But yeah, the riser is from Fix pedal boards, and I like it. I've never really... It comes with a second or third... It comes with another one of these for extra support. I've always just kind of taken that off. But, you know, if you decide to order it even longer, that third one might be important to have on there just for some extra support. All right. Oh, boy. We're getting a little close here, but I think it'll be fine. And I don't think I'm going to lock that in just yet, just because, you know, that's probably a better thing to do once we're done powering and running power to places. But I will be using this when I lock it in. Cool, so we got the Zuma set. Now I think let's go ahead and hit the Una and the Wamp. The Una is going to go right here. The Wamp is going to be right here, right next to each other. It's always nice when they nest so well like that. And I'm also just kind of continually making sure that this can open and close freely. My last one did not do that. Will the board travel in a gator case or something? Padded gig bag? I actually just bought earlier today, actually, because, you know, they love to follow up with you for a discount code. It was from Color Case, and it was a Pelican. Pelican 1595 Air, I think. So it's got a roller wheel for easy travel, which I'm looking forward to. Before I had a mono gig bag, the mono was actually pressing up against the Big Sky's clicker here, and then that clicker stopped working. So I just had to reach out to Strymon, who Strymon has excellent customer service. If you guys have never worked with them before, they're one of my favorite pedal companies, and they just told me how to fix it. It was real simple. But that being said, I just decided, you know, I do like the mono cases a lot. I use their guitar bags all the time, but it was just time to get a Pelican. You know, that being said, I don't do too many fly gigs, especially not with a big pedal board like this. So it was a little bit of like an unnecessary purchase, I'd say, but at the same time, you know, I'm a big believer in just kind of getting the thing that you need when you first decide to need it, and just kind of go for the best, just so that you don't ever really waste the money on that first purchase. You know what I mean? Like, you know, if I were to get something cheaper and just say, hey, you know, once I do need to fly with my pedal board, I will buy a Pelican. And I'll just buy the Pelican now and just deal with it, you know? Alright, so I had some of the dual lock left over on here before, right? So I'm just going to reuse that. After cutting, I've cut so much dual lock in my life. It's unbelievable. And after cutting so much of it, you know, I've kind of learned how to do it well. These squares really kind of reduce the strain on your wrist, I'd say, or your fingers. Also, the worst thing in the world is the experience of pulling this dual lock off. God, that is painful. All right. So, this one's gonna go. It's hard to kind of get a feel for where this stuff is lining up exactly. I just gotta make sure. Okay, that should work. I don't know if that was really loud, if that hit the microphone. I apologize. All right, so that's lined up. It's looking real good. Let's see if it. Oops. Okay, good enough. Be able to get that power cable in there. So a lot of what I'm thinking about, I mean, right now it's easy because there's not a lot of stuff here, but I am trying to consider where power runs are going to go, where cable runs are going to go. You know, flat boards are a different beast than like an angled board like a Temple or a pedal train. I mean, the pedal train is so good. I mean, I love the pedal train. I've been a consistent user of those boards for years and years, and sometimes I miss them. But the flat boards too, I mean, especially the hinged board, there's something about these being more compact. There's something about these being, I mean, I guess they're a little heavier too, but the hinged boards just, you know, they've got that look. That's pretty cool. All right, so these are both in. I am going to have to probably eventually pull this one up so that I can sneak a power cable through. That's the other cool thing about... Oh, hang on. Is that... I don't know what... It's a little angled. That's kind of unfortunate. Let's see. Let's see if I can move that. I feel like with dual lock you have a little bit of time before it really sets in to kind of make the... Maybe that's just the camera angle. I don't know. You know, who really cares about this? About the aesthetics of the underboard, but, you know, in the fine words of Steve Jobs, you will know. You will know that it's angled, and it'll drive you crazy. All right, gotta grab my trash can. Okay, here we go. We're having a good time here, right? Okay, so we got these in. Next, I think we're going to try to get the volume pedal in, because that's the next biggest one. I remember hearing something about actually how to manage your schedule years and years ago, where someone made this demonstration of like a vase with these rocks, It was like, hey, you've got all these big things, and then you've got these small things that you're going to put into this vase, right? You've got big rocks and small rocks. If you put all the small rocks in first, you are going to not have any room for the big rocks. But if you put the big rocks in first, then you can pour the small rocks on top, and you'll fit everything in the vase. So it's kind of an esoteric analogy for what I'm trying to do with the pedals, but I'm trying to put in the big pedals first before I put in the smaller cable runs and ties and all that kind of stuff. Even down to the Strymon pedals on the top, I'm not going to probably put in until a lot later. But these ones, especially the ones that kind of mark the boundary, mark the angles by which your the edges of your pedal boards are going to be, it's nice to have those in, right? So now this is the edge, okay? The other edge is going to be this, right? So if we wired this whole thing up just like this right now, we are going to have a very easy time finishing up, what pedals go in here and what pedals go on top of here, because these ones kind of mark the edge, right? From here, where's my other stuff? I do know I'm probably going to put a tuner here. This one's going to be dual locked in as well, but I'm not going to do that for a little while, just because, again, this is kind of the inside thing. That one is not something that I necessarily need to worry a ton about for where the cables run, because this whole space is going to be left open for being able to put down whatever pedal I want when I need it. Okay? Cool. So I think it would be cool to start running a few power cables, which is probably the fun, kind of sexy part of this pedal board build, if you could call any part of this sexy. But it is, I think a lot of people really enjoy seeing the runs of cables. All right, so I do need to open this up a little bit. I'm a big reuser, right? So even the cables that I use for the pedal boards are the Evidence Audio monorail cable, mostly because you can, it's a little bit of an expensive buy-in at the front, but once you buy as many of the ends to the cables as you need, you can just continually rebuild cables for as many times as you're going to redo your pedal board, which is nice. So I've reused them maybe 5 or 6 times. Okay, so let's talk about theory here again. What I'm kind of thinking about here is I'm going to have a line of power going right here. It's going to be very close to this. It's going to be trying to stay out of the way of cables that might be running this way. This is likely going to be the cable run to come up and out to the Strymon pedals, which is cool. I mean, I'm still a believer in the whole fact that you should have cables and power going at a perpendicular angle, right? So that you don't get a ton of noise. I remember the first time I built a pedal board, I actually wrapped a bunch of power around the cables, and it was the noisiest pedal board I had ever had, and that was a silly move on my part. So, fun little story. Let's see. The nice thing about this, so all of my pedals, by the way, speaking of power, all of my pedals are 9 volt or 9 volt accepting. The cool thing about these two is that they take any power that you give it to them and they'll work. So I just run 9 volt, but the Zuma puts out 9 volt for everything. I've even got the additional things here set for 9 volts. So everything's 9 volt, which is nice, except for our friend, the Kemper player, but that's going to come in a little bit later down the line. Here's this first one. It's going to be a little long, but this one's going to the Leal. Pop that in right here. Boom, we're in. Okay, I'm also going to be trying to use angled at the power supply, just because it's a little bit cleaner and nicer looking. And aesthetics, arguably the most important part of tone. This one can go to the Una, most likely. These are kind of the long ones. Can't believe how long these are. Flip this around. Doing this by sight. Or, no, not by sight, by feel. Okay, so here's an interesting thing happening that I don't like. Oh, sorry. Sorry if that's crazy. I don't like this all of a sudden, so I'm going to do this again. Do you see how this is poking out? This is actually poking out further than where this edge is happening. And that's just something that I kind of came to realize right now. And I'm going to get a dual-angled side for that. There we go. So, I mean, aesthetics, I know I just made a joke about this, but I do think aesthetics will always come second to functionality and reliability. Which is a little bit of why I am such a believer in the solderless cables, right? Oh, Daniel uses solderless cables. That is faux pas for building pedal boards, right? But really, you know, you think I have been one to have many cables go down on me in the heat of the moment when you're playing a gig, and that's an almost always awful experience, because then you have to pull out a bunch of stuff and try and diagnose what the pedal is that's not working. Not the pedal, the cable. Sometimes it's the pedal, but how would you know at the time? And that was the nice thing about the switcher at the time, I will tell you that, was it was really nice to be able to not have like inline loops, right? Or to be able to have inline loops. Oh, gotta pull this all the way up, I guess. It was really nice to be able to have inline loops because of the fact that, sorry, I'm trying to balance two things at once. This is like chewing gum and walking at the same time. There. It was nice to have inline loops because you were basically being able to isolate the problem pedal very easily with the switching system, and then you could diagnose by eliminating variables. Hey, this pedal, you know, it's either the pedal or the two cables that are going to that pedal that is not working. Now I can either just kill this loop, or I need to start yanking cables, testing what is working, what is not. And then specifically with solderless, if you wanted to just kind of fix that connection, you could just snip a little bit more off of that connection and reconnect that connection, which was very convenient, which was very, yeah, it was good. It was good. Jamie, I saw you asked another question. Why did you go with a flat board instead of an angled board or pedal train? I had been using pedal trains for years and years prior to this. I used a pedal train all through college. I loved pedal train. I do still love pedal train. But with this last board, I just kind of decided to mix it up and do a flat board. And it's been pretty cool to be able to use a flat board and see what it's like, you know, yeah, doing it with the flat board. And I like it. Again, it's heavier, and it's maybe a little bit more problematic real estate wise, but with this instance, I mean, I got a really tall, I got a 3.5 inch tall hinged riser, right? So I do think that there's a little bit more to be able to pack in underneath here now. I mean, the fact that I can put pedals down here, as opposed to, you didn't really put pedals underneath the pedal train, right? So there is a little bit more real estate opportunity in a smaller package with this. That being said, I just built my buddy Jeff's pedal board, and we put a couple pedals actually underneath his pedal train because it was a, he did have a switching system, which was cool. And these hinged boards have always been really good for switching systems as well, due to the fact that you're putting a bunch of like pedals that you might not be messing with the settings a bunch underneath. That being said, though, you know, I didn't want to do a switching system. I had a switching system last time. It's fine. It's just it's a lot. Those are expensive too, and I really feel like the benefit that you get comparative to like a modeling system is, I'd rather do the modeler, honestly. Okay, so we've got power here. The next thing I think we can do is let's go ahead and install the Strymons on top. Okay, because these we need to pay attention to a little bit of power as well. And then after that, we'll talk about the Kemper profiler. I should give away some Kemper packs. I mean, Jamie, you have been in the chat almost exclusively, besides Kyle. But I think Kyle actually already owns a lot of my Kemper packs, which is cool. Jamie, you probably have some of mine too. But dude, you'll get a Kemper pack. You let me know what you want, man. You know how to get in contact with me. All right. Feel like maybe some music would have been fun to put on this, but I didn't dare risk additional audio problems after the fact. Another question some of you guys might have is, why am I not doing MIDI switching on the Strymon trifecta up here, right? Because I did have that on my switching system before. And the fact is I might. I could. I don't have MIDI cables on me right now. My last one, I intentionally omitted that. But I might do that for this one. Let me see what's going on. Okay. I might do that for this one. The beautiful thing about this is being able to change up what goes in this area means that if I wanted to put a MIDI switch thing there, maybe just like a 3-button thing for presets, I could just run some MIDI up to here and then scroll through them, which would be cool. All right, and I am running out of my preferred dual lock, which is a little unfortunate, but we shall persevere. Okay, I'm going to use this as like a straight edge to kind of get this lined up nicely. Let's see. There we go. Now let's see if this continues down. Oh, maybe. Oh, that's why. And yeah, looks nice to me. All right, let's lock these down too. Again, I will be I'll use this inferior dual lock. I will be probably having to pull some of this stuff up after the fact, just because it's going to it's going to, you know, we're going to run power cables underneath it. Which is the nice thing about some of this taller dual lock, is you actually get a little bit of space underneath. So you can run some smaller cables. Audio cables, it's kind of a risk. It's not a risk, but it's kind of a, it's not a great way of, you know, making space. Or saving space, but power cables all day. Power cables all day I'm running under dual lock. Because look, you get like a good couple millimeters maybe there. I don't know. I'm in America, we use the not metric system, the silly one. Alright. See, this is already kind of annoying to have to pull off of here, but this will be a strong dual lock. There we go. I mean, the hope every single time, I actually think I said this in my last pedalboard video, but the hope is that, you know, these pedal boards are going to stick around for at least a couple years, but, you know, inevitably, a year goes by, a year of using the board and you start thinking about all the things you'd change, you'd say, you know, I'm going to build a new one. And somehow, it's always a little bit more expensive to build a new one. Always ends up costing me an extra couple $100 to build a new pedal board. There we go. That's 2. Please 1 pack here. Looking for a good match for overdrive and P90s. Yeah, you can have a pack. You can have a pack. Let me know what pack you want. Hit me up on Instagram. Actually, I mean, I'd prefer you to hit me up on Instagram at 60 Cycle Sounds. That could use a little bit more following. If you guys aren't following 60 Cycle Sounds on Instagram, I'll hit you with a pack. I'll give you instructions on how to get a pack, because I don't email packs anymore. I used to email packs. Now I want to just give you access to the pack that you can download at any time. Got some angry emails before. But yeah, let me know what you want. Good match for overdrive and P90s. I mean, the matchless one, the mashless HC30 is always a good one. I'm a big fan of the, I mean, you can get it for free right now anyway, but the 2 Rock Studio pack. That one, I mean, I gave that away for free, and that is the best pack I've ever made. I use that so much. It sounds so good, and it's so dynamic, which is my preferred sound for amplifiers, and being able to combine with them with like external overdrives. So killer. I'm excited to have that loaded up here and hear how it sounds going through you know, the Strymons up here and King of Tone, all that good stuff. But yeah, you might want to check out the mashless one. Some of the Tone Thing Imperial packs are secret heaters. Those are really, really good, especially the lead ones. So check this out. Do you see that little let me see if I can line this up with the camera. Do you see that little gap in between? Look at that. That is like plenty of room to just throw a little bit of a cable run through. So it makes it real convenient. Cool. So that's up. These are all going to be coming down. I haven't exactly decided where exactly they're going to be coming down to connect with the Strymon Zuma. Maybe on this side. So to give you some additional information about the theory of the pedal board here, is this Zuma ideally is going to be all used up with pedals that are on the board constantly, right? And then eventually I'm going to put this O-Hi probably right here, actually. This O-Hi is going to be a distribution for pedals that I want to put on the like the free range board here. Maybe that's what we call this, the free range board. But this one is going to distribute to anything that's right here. And then crazy enough, the next thing on top of that, where is it? So this is the big reveal. This is what I had to pick up yesterday. This is the Chalks Crows. You're in Canada? I didn't know that, Jamie. Or maybe you told me that. I appreciate the use of millimeters. Sure thing. This is the Crux. This is going to come out of my 24 volt through. Power this. This is going to have the exclusive distribution of power to the Kemper player, right? Because the Kemper player right now takes about like 24 volts. No, what does it take? It takes 24 watts, 9 to 12 volts. Okay, so 24 watts, that's a lot of draw. That's not something that any of the traditional power supplies can exactly give for how much it demands. So this is going to be separate for all of the pedals here, and then the Strymon gets the Crux alone. And I'm going to try to maybe see if I can incorporate that right there. That might be a good move. Let's see if we even have that room. We might have that room. We'll see. I haven't totally decided how I'm going to do that yet. But, yeah, that's the game of pedalboard build. Improv is good for jazz, and it's good for pedalboard building. Okay, so What I want to do is I want to make a little channel here for the these Strymon pedals on top to just kind of swing around and power all of them. Let's see, am I going to do that? Am I going to do the channel, or am I going to... How am I going to do this? Okay, I know how I'm going to do this. So, I am going to run this. That actually means I should probably move this to here. And then I'm going to run these guys up and then under here. And this is going to give distribution to each of the pedals. Okay? Maybe that didn't make a ton of sense just yet, but it will. Oh boy, it will. The challenge with a hinged board is you got to keep the fact that you're going to be doing this, you know, you have to be considerate of that. So that means that this right here is the most valuable real estate, right? This right here has the least amount of movement. The most amount of movement is coming up on the top of this hinged board right here. So what I'm going to try to do, this one's going to be the easiest one. This one goes right up to the big sky. Ta-da. Right through these nice little holes. I might need to find some smaller... I've got these really long power cables. I'm going to find some smaller ones real quick. Okay. I have hundreds of these. Not hundreds, but maybe 40. It's a lot. Okay. So, here we've got the Strymons. This one can go... Ay. Right through here. And then this one doesn't reach, so we do need to get a longer cable for that. There we go. This one's going over to the Zuma. Now, I do like the fact that I don't need to solder anything on here. However, these long power cable runs are kind of a challenge. You know, they're kind of annoying to have to deal with. Still not going to solder anything. I don't really want to have to cut this smaller. But I will do some uglier things that I wish I didn't have to do. But I just, you know, I don't really feel the need to cut this any smaller. And that's just a me thing. I feel like if I was doing, like, okay, so for example, if I was, in fact, John Mayer, for example, and I had my pedal board that I was going to fly around the world with, I would cut these to length. Or I would, you know, I'd have enough money to have my person cut them to length for me. But, you know, this pedal board might last me a year or two, so I'd rather not destroy a cable or shorten it and just kind of leave it for, you know, 2025 Daniel to enjoy using once again. Okay, so we're looking a little messy now, okay? The next thing I would like to do is start sort of getting some cleaning, like some house cleaning going. We can generalize the fact that we're going to bunch our cables here. This is going to be kind of the first cable run, right? All through in front of the Una and the WAMP. And then we're going to make a bunch here going across. So we get our nifty brand new bag of Hiwashi, I think. I don't know. But just look for these 3Ms. The 3M products I'm a fan of. These are the ones that make the big mess, though. So get ready. I'm just going to open these up. This one, for whatever reason, came with screws. Screws for something. I don't know. Okay. And I always look for these ones that have the 2 holes on the side. I don't know why. I've just found that these ones are the better ones. And I always get them in black too. I have ones in white. I don't think they look as good. And what have I said before? Aesthetic equals tone. Someone put that on a shirt, please. You don't even need to pay me royalties. Okay. Big decision as to whether or not we're going to go like this or like this, because I want to do that for the entire cable run here. I'm going to go ahead. You know, it would be responsible for me to put a line. Okay. And I'm just saying this because aesthetics, we've determined aesthetics equal tone. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a straight edge, which in this case I'm using dual lock. I'm going to unplug all of these real quick. That's the nice thing about using all 9-volt guys. Okay, and I'm just going to take a pencil. Okay. Might be a little shallow. Let's see. I'm just going to cut this. I don't know why I'm doing this, but, you know, it's jazz. Pedal boards are jazz. Okay, we'll get a little closer. And that'll serve as the bottom part of our cable run here. So that means that we can start putting these down. There we go. Now, why did I choose to go specifically right there? Well, I'm not actually going to do this completely side to side. I'm going to do this, hopefully, in accordance to whatever I'm seeing is the length of the cable, where I'd like it to kind of have its bend. I don't know if I'm making a ton of sense right now, but I'd like for there to be like a nice little safety bend right there, so that it doesn't stretch the cable too much, and so that it just kind of sits comfortably, right? Nice little sticker experience with Daniel. This is good. This will be fun to have up as one of my longer videos too, because I'm doing I'll leave this up for people. In fact, third Kemper pack giveaway. If you're watching this not live, the first person to email me at 60cyclesounds@gmail.com will get a Kemper pack. Sounds fun, huh? And none of you guys who are maybe watching right now, don't do that right now. Contest starts after the live is over. So currently we have Jamie, 71 Dave's getting Kemper packs, and then whoever's watching after the live is over, you're getting one too. Pre-congratulations. Oops. So, with this being incredibly exciting content, I'm sure, let's talk about some of the theories that I've had for past pedal boards, and then what we're doing with this one. So in the past, I've had pedal boards that have kind of had an underlying theory, right? There's been the switching system one. There has been the unit and the WAMP one with the audition thing, which I really like. And that one had the variable, 60, not 60. That one had the Universal Audio Dream, right? Which was really cool. That I could take on and take off. The theory behind this one is almost exclusively based around being able to make as much out of the Kemper player as possible. So surrounding it with high quality, exciting drive pedals, surrounding it with amazing input fidelity from the Una, and then also being able to take advantage of what I consider to be hidden features and something that has not been embraced by the Kemper community as much from the player, right? So the Kemper, if you've ever made profiles or if you've ever experimented with profiling direct, is effectively a loader for it's a loader for a impulse response and a gain snapshot, right? Let me plug these back in real quick. Got a little bit of slack here. I'm gonna wire the rest of these up too. The Kemper is effectively an input loader, a gain loader, and an IR loader combined, and that's what makes a Kemper profile. And you can make a high quality direct sound really, really good, arguably better than the sound of like a traditional profile if you use a high quality impulse response that can get studio quality, post effects loaded onto it, etc. So I've done that with some of the own Hammer stuff. I don't sell that stuff, but I've experimented with like really, really high quality impulse responses and my own personal direct profiles, and those sound really, really good. It got me thinking, well, what is a direct profile but just a sound similar to a drive pedal, right? Is that the mini Leel? Hey, Paul. It is not the mini Leel. That's the full Leel, but I do have the mini Leel. I think you've seen it. Paul's my friend. Paul lives real close. Oops. So, the what was I going to say? What's the reason to... Oh! Am I black? Did I go dark? Uh-oh. Hang on. I think one of my cameras turned off. Yeah. We back? Weird. Oh, there we go. Sweet. We're back. Glad I caught that. I don't even think my live stream is caught up yet. Let's see when that's gonna happen. Anyway. Okay, back to the whole theory of everything, right? I totally screwed this one up too. I'm gonna lift that up. Back to the theories about the Kemper and the pedalboard and all that. Why are we not profiling really, really high quality gain sounds and then adding impulse responses to that? What's a high quality gain sound, in my opinion? Hey, how about the sound of a Klon Centaur, right? How about the sound of a JHS color box? Some of you guys from the early YouTube channel may have seen that part where I did profile a JHS color box Mark II, which has the sound of two Neve consoles running into each other. Really cool sounding pedal. And let's see. It sounded really cool. And what I did was I actually plugged my Kemper into a traditional amplifier, and it made a crazy sound. I mean, a usable sound, but it sounded like the pedal. And so, the whole theory behind this now is, why are we not using the Kemper player as a pedal loader, right? Why do we not have profiles of the Analog Man King of Tone, the Klon Centaur, any of those really, really desirable pedals? Even the, I've been a fan of the full tone OCD lately, and for a while. Don't want to have one on my pedal board anymore, but I like it. So why don't I have just a profile of the full tone OCD on my board, or in my Kemper, to be able to swap that in at any time? That's pretty cool. And where the Kemper ends up sitting in terms of the signal chain on your board, it'll so this is gonna be right here, right? I'm gonna have all my gain stages, and then the profiler, and that's going to go into the volume pedal. Oh no, I'm sorry, the volume pedal is going into the Kemper profiler, and then that's going through all the effects up here. So why is there no reason that I couldn't plug in this last pedal into an amplifier, and I could effectively be modeling a Klon Centaur with the Kemper player? There is no reason, and I've tried it, and it sounds really good. Good enough to the point where that's going to be some of the next products that come out with 60 cycle sounds. Are going to be Kemper player specific pedals, rare pedals, hopefully. I mean, I've still got my Klon KTR, I've got my Analog Man King of Tone. What else do I have over there? I've got the 10 Years is a Decade. That's a really cool pedal. I do see my live stream is now caught up to the point where my where the screen all went black. Man, I didn't realize that was so latent, but you know, that's fine. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I mean, if you guys hadn't downloaded my my free 2 rock pack yet from 60cyclesounds.com, check it out. That's a pretty cool pack in its own. Gonna be doing a lot of like experimental stuff, like the pedals. So that's the place to check it out. Daniel, your pedalboard view camera. Thank you, Jamie. We've now gotten that figured out. Okay, so to talk about what's going on here with these zip ties, right? I have a very specific technique for putting these all in. Camera went black. Thank you, guys. Looks like I'll get it figured out. I have a very specific technique with these zip ties. Okay, primarily because you can hurt yourself on these zip ties once you clip them. Once they get kind of small and you clip the edge, they make kind of a painful edge that you don't want to cut yourself on. So what I do is I find the edge that's going to be facing away from maybe where my fingers are, and I make sure I line up all of the zip ties so that they're not pointing towards where you can cut your fingers. What I will do, though, is I have to put a little bend in the zip tie right here so that I can get it under, because often if you're trying to hide that angry side of the zip tie, you will inevitably run into probably the more challenging place to be putting the zip tie through. Like, it's going to be on the more challenging side. Oh yeah, wow. I don't think I figured out the whole camera thing just yet. I'm watching the live stream just like you guys. I don't know. Was it black for a while? Hopefully I'm not losing people. Oh, it looks like I'm gaining people. That's cool. Thank you everybody who tuned into this. By the way, just like in terms of a plan here, I'm hoping to have a good portion of this finished, but I will probably split at 3:30 maybe. 2 hours of building a pedal board. Might need a little break, but I'll finish it up. I'll finish it up and post some updates. Maybe we'll even continue at a later time. Pedal boards can take a while. It's really shocking. But maybe time is just flying because I'm having fun. Also getting a little hungry. Haven't had lunch yet. Well, there we go. Looks like past Daniel has figured out the the pedalboard camera, which is just great. All right, there we go. I'm really surprised it's so latent. It's like that was probably close to 5 or 6 minutes ago. If you do want to continue to learn pedalboard stuff from me, I do have like a pedalboard course that I recently made free. And it's not going to be any, like, there's no money actually involved at all. I mean, there are little niceties that if you buy from the if you buy supplies from my affiliate links, I get a little kickback, which is always appreciated. But no, I pedalboard information, I really feel like, you know, we can be making our pedalboards a lot better with just a couple of simple tips and tricks. So I build my friend Dylan Cal pedalboard that he has since fully dismantled, of course. Okay, so I have all of my zip ties here set up. I've got just these little loops, right? And I'm not going to necessarily lock them in until a little bit later, but I will be able to start making a few runs down into the power supply area, right? So I've got my stuff here. There we go. And I will show you how to get that nice clean bunching look in a little bit too. It's a technique that I call strategic bunching. It's about what you'd expect. It just means kind of massage the cable until it looks nice, right? It's really simple. Okay, I've got those lined up. I'm gonna grab this. And just remember that I always do also kind of just want to pay attention to where I think some of these cable runs are going to be working. So you might see generally what I'm trying to think about here. So this one can go there. And actually, I will probably start to run my line up here next. That's probably going to be the next step. Just because if you let this get really spaghetti, there's no going back. There's no going back. Okay, and actually over here, I might even start by putting a quick little tactical zip tie down there just to keep it nice and orderly. Okay, so we'll put that here. And this one we can actually go ahead and zip all the way down. I have seen a new product that I'm interested in checking out, where it's like some of that computer like mesh stuff that you can buy to cable organize. They made that for pedalboard cables. And so I think that's a very smart idea for making some of this look really nice. Something that I want to check out. Not today, though. Okay, so I've got the tactical zip tie in. Okay, and then I'm going to try to identify like an entry point. I do have to be considerate of where the canvas is going to be, because this is going to probably be right here, and we don't have a ton of room. So we've probably got like no room. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make the channel over the, what am I going to do with this? I actually think it's going to be safer to utilize the top channel rather than the bottom channel, specifically for in consideration to this. So it's not the easiest maneuver, but it's probably just for the best. Now I'm kind of rethinking. Huh. Yeah, that's going to be a little bit of an issue, I think, just based on the fact that I have... Yeah, this is making it a little tricky, because this is going to add some height, and then this is going to react to that height. So maybe I move this over here. And something that I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to... Okay. Okay, so it's kind of the first major issue I think we're running into here, is how to run these cables around that canvas. Okay, and it wouldn't be a pedalboard build if there wasn't an issue. And I think the move that I'm going to do is make, instead of having it come out of a singular, like each one of these had come out of like this, I'm going to make the cable run up here for the Strymons. So this is the first first casualty of the pedalboard build, a wasted zip tie, but you know, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Gonna take this out. Take this out. The Mobius already has a longer run anyway, so that should be fine. We'll put this over here. So we've got that up and over, and then we've got this. We'll put through the same, up and over. I know this is engaging content, you guys. Very, very exciting stuff. So I'm just going to pull this out. And so now what we've got, I mean, man, wouldn't this have been nice for that cable organization product that I was just talking about? Now what we've got is effectively just a run, right? So this run is going to come up and around the canvas. So I'm going to link this together. And I am actually going to just to set the organization, we're going to lock these down too. Because I don't foresee using much more. I should have done that first, actually. Yep. Might as well do it right. I feel like, so I've got two cameras on me and on the pedal board, and I feel like you guys should have a camera in my brain to see all the nonsense that's kind of happening to make this happen. Nothing incredibly smart or like to be used for money-making opportunities like engineering or anything. No, it's just how can we make a pedal board look pretty. That's it. Okay, so there we go on the power supply front. That's kind of all set, and then we'll continue the run, considerate of the organization. This is kind of the strategic bunching thing that I was talking about, where you just kind of see and follow how the cable is flowing, and you just want to continue that bunch in a nice format. So you notice a lot of the stuff that I'm using too is the same thing that I was talking about earlier, where it's like I just kind of go for the high quality stuff. I will say the benefit of high quality stuff is the fact that you can make a lot of these decisions, and it removes that variable from wondering, hey, how can I skirt around the fact that this is maybe not the best power supply, this is maybe not the best cable to be using for this, this is maybe not the best whatever. If you just go for it, I mean, if you go for the thing that your budget most allows you to be able to afford, usually you'll thank yourself in the long run. At least has been my experience. Okay, so now we've got the starts to a nice little cable run here. We're going to bring this around here, and the goal is to get it up here. So I want this to not interact too much with this hinge. I'm going to put that down. I'm going to do this cool little technique that's like a little pre-stick for the for one of these guys, just to make sure it's sitting right. Anyone listening to some cool music these days? Anyone find any new artists? Or digging? Okay. apologies for the lack of information here, but this is like the intense part that I'm trying to make sure goes right. And I think it's correct. There. Okay, going around here. Oh, no, it wasn't correct. I didn't do it right. Let's see how I can fix this. I'm just gonna, hopefully it doesn't come off nasty. Can we admit that we all hate that like residue that's left from this, like, this stuff? Ugh. Okay, I'm gonna do this. That should be good. And then we're going to keep this away. There. Need another zip tie. Yeah, that residue stuff that happens when you got like the plastic backed whatever junk, it's just gross. It's always such a challenge to get off, and I know you could use Goo Gone if you wanted to, but stuff then starts smelling. Just a whole thing. Let's make it easier. Okay, so we got this. Okay, what was I trying to do here? Okay, I see what I'm trying to do here. So now this is when we put this in. So this is where like the the passion and excitement of pedal boards and gear kind of eclipses the effort that goes into it. But I've always been someone who really, really gets fired up about the end product. I mean, it's such a, work is so hard. Can we admit work is hard? But I've always really resonated a lot more with, like, instead of continual projects, just like, or continual maintenance of things, being able to have something that you're done with at the end that you're proud of, that you can ship off and or pull up to a gig with at the end, and just show like a very cool thing that you worked hard on, that you iterated on, that you know, maybe know more about than other people. I think that's pretty cool. So while it is painful right now, and while this is not the most enjoyable thing to do, putting these stickers on, the excitement of the end product keeps me going, which is great. And I kind of get the idea that a lot of people who maybe are tuning into this maybe want to stick around to see the end product and share in that ideal with me, because it is pretty exciting to see what ultimately comes of something like this. And I do feel like I'm doing a bit of a disservice by probably not giving that to you today. But there will be that follow-up video, which is going to be really fun, which will, maybe be out next week. I do have a gig that I have to play this weekend, so it will be done this week. I mean, hopefully it'll be done at least audio passable by today, but we shall see with this live stream. Okay, so now back to our regularly scheduled strategic bunching. So if you see, I'll give you a quick little lesson with these zip ties. This is the important stuff, guys. Like, my fingers are going to be going like this if I ever need to grab the board by the hinge here. So the last thing that I want is for a nasty edge of a zip tie to be jamming in. So I'm actually going to put it in this side so that it wraps over like that. Do you see what I mean? And then the ends of the ties will be terminating into the wall here. So you can kind of see it maybe here. Oh no, here. You see how, like, if I had this, it'll be edging into here, okay? I don't know if you guys saw that. That's a bit of a, it's dark. I tried to light everything really nice so that you guys could see it. I don't know if it's perfectly lit, but yeah. So we're just doing our thing now where we're just bending the zip tie and rolling it through, trying to keep it out of the way. Thank you guys for watching. Super nice of you all. Andrew Gianella. My friend Andrew Gianella is texting me right now. He's got a really cool peaceful guitar artist project. I mean, it's under his name, Andrew Gianella. But hopefully he and I are going to be working on some stuff pretty soon. I'm not going to tell you guys just yet, but how many of you guys know that I make and release music? If you do, let me know in the chat. I'll probably know in like 5 minutes. How many of you guys know that I make and release like 4 or 5 different songs every week? It's all coming out every week. It was part of my goal for this year, was to make more content. I'm trying to do 10 pieces of content every week. Just kind of across YouTube with YouTube Shorts. I'm trying to do the TikTok thing. TikTok is challenging, but sometimes it can be gratifying. I feel like with TikTok, it's either it goes big or it just dissipates immediately. But this live stream is more fun than I thought it was going to be. So thank you guys. But yeah, this year, Content Farm McLaughlin, trying to get it done. But just trying to put more stuff out. Kind of going back to the whole idea of being able to finish and complete things and have something sticking out at the end. Not sticking out. Having something that comes out at the end can be really gratifying. And so that's been kind of a bit of an effort on my part this year to give myself that opportunity to make and release more. And what it's done for me, which has been really nice, is it's kind of taken away that nervous energy of releasing something, right? Because it's always scary putting something out into the world. Especially, weirdly enough, in the guitar YouTube community. I mean, some people have been really lovely. Some people have been really mean. And it's like unfortunate. I don't know why. I don't know why people need to be mean. We're all just trying to be stoked about 61 strats and pedals, and the guitar world is so crazy right now. It's like, I mean, I don't know if any of you guys went to NAMM, but there's so many products out. It's like, it's wild. So many cool products. Okay, so we just put all the zip ties in. I'm just gonna wedge these all through. might actually do them one at a time, just so it's not a painful experience. There's one. There's two. There's three. Cool. Now back to our strategic bunching element that we gotta make sure is right. Making sure I leave just a little bit of slack too. Just for the fact that we've got a hinged board here. Crazy that what, we're 90 minutes in and we haven't even made a single cable yet. I'll be sure to make one at least before the stream is over. Because maybe that's what some of you guys came here for. Maybe you're really like, man, I love seeing audio cables be made. I'd be like, what is wrong with you? All right, let's see. Does this close? It does not close. So we need to make sure that this... I'll just add a little bit more slack, and then we'll deal with that in a little bit. But... oh, and boy, are you guys excited for some nice slow-mo, high-resolution shots of some of these cables? Because it's going to be nice. It is pretty nice to see cables that just look so well organized. What is that? What's the Reddit thing that they do? The oddly satisfying? It is very satisfying to see when cables are well organized. Yeah, but I would say that, I mean, to give an example of the work that goes into something like this, I'd say we are coming up on being about a quarter of the way through the build. And the fact that it's been 90 minutes so far is pretty nuts to think. What is that? What's 90 times 4? I should be good at this because I'm a musician that counts to 4 a lot. But, oh, looks like we lost the top again. But I caught it early. So what's happening is I think just my cameras that I've got set up are overheating, so they go black. See if it fixes. There we go. All right. It's probably a good sign that we'll be wrapping up a little bit soon, seeing as my cameras are getting angry at me. I don't know why that one dies and my main camera doesn't. I really need to check out the reason why. Those are Sony A6400s, which have a tendency to overheat, which is kind of dumb. Like, could you imagine if like your quad cortex overheated on a gig? It's like, camera people make some good money, I feel like. But you know, you can always buy multiple cameras, I guess. If one overheats, you just bail on it and get another one out. I'm thinking about wedding photography. I'm going to a wedding in a couple weeks. I'm like, it's expensive. Weddings are pricey. Oh, lost it again, huh? Yeah, definitely probably overheating here. Let's see, we'll give it one more time. I mean, 94 minutes, that's a pretty It's a pretty good amount of time for Pedalboard live stream. I'm sure you've all got President's Day stuff you maybe want to enjoy. A board build, when done right, is the end result of a ton of thinking and strategizing. For those of us into gear, it's really interesting to learn from each other on this stuff. Yeah, that's nice, Jamie. Completely agree. You know, I've learned a lot. The majority of this I've learned from Vertex, and then also just my own experiences in building stuff. But like, I have a lot of respect for Vertex and Mason, because he's been doing it for so long, and he's definitely built up a skill set. But at the same time, he and I disagree on the idea of solderless versus soldered. And he is not a gigging musician, and that's fine. But my theory on the whole soldered versus solderless thing is, like, it's really nice to be able to take control over the fact that you could fix your cables in the heat of the moment on the gig. It's a redundancy is what it is. And I mean, nowadays, I feel like, especially in some of the major kind of pop rolls and stuff, you know, redundancy is the name of the game. Bringing an extra guitar. Some people have, you know, the extra quad cortex or a iridium waiting for them, just in case something goes down. You know, that's an important aspect. Oh boy, is this looking good? Can you guys see? I don't know if you guys can see, but I'm just gonna pop this up here. Wonder when the last time we actually flipped this over was. And we got Mobius, wherever that is. And the big stretch. Hello. Let's see if we've got one with a little bit more length. Okay, so I don't love that. I don't love that. This one might be. Yeah, I don't love that. That's a bit unfortunate how aggressive that bend is. So, if that's the case, might come back to that. But you see what I don't love about that? That is an accident waiting to happen. That gets pulled out. That gets this damaged. It's a lack of redundancy right there, right? Not a lack of redundancy. I think that's just a flat out plain bad idea. Okay? So, but, you know, pedalboards again, iterative. These are iterative experiences that we're going through, trying to figure out the best way of doing this stuff. Okay. If this is going to be kind of finishing up soon, let's go ahead and go through some power cable, or not some power cables. We got power cables. I'm gonna finish distributing this all out. Let me just show you guys what is gonna be happening, and then maybe we'll wrap it up. Oh, Jamie said something else. With that said, I really can't wait to see how you're using the player. I'm planning a Kemper player board too. Let's go. But maybe MIDI driven, smaller board. Though this big board is looking fun. Yeah, Jamie, that sounds really cool. I would have really liked to do MIDI with the Kemper player. However, I wasn't super stoked about the, I said this in my video if you guys want to check that out. I'm not really stoked about the MIDI.